Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think this Malaysian debate is actually proving to be arguably the most interesting free trade debate we've had yet in my time here with ASEAN. Yesterday, Hong Kong, although Hong Kong and Malaysia effectively have merged into one debate in a way. But I think we are joined in a genuine dialogue, and I thank my colleague Tim McIndoe and others, even Chris Tremaine, for responding to my comments and also on the Labour benches as well. I may have a bit more to say about that to continue the dialogue in the third reading. This is not the place to do that here. What I would like to do here, Sir, Mr. Chair, is address the Minister, and I take the opportunity to pay my personal respect to Tim Grosser for his skill and his devotion to the task. The critique that the Green Party advances on trade policy, please understand, in no way reflects any denigration on our part of the high regard that we have for him and, for that matter, his colleagues. What I wanted to do was to take the opportunity to ask the Minister a number of factual questions for answer. Perhaps I may stand to benefit from his answers. And so they are advanced in a positive spirit, and there are, I think, 5 or 6 of them, and I hope I don't get too confused with my own thoughts. Question 1 is the following. It has to do with the description in the national interest analysis of the benefits of the FTA to New Zealand, and that's divided into basically two dimensions. One is the static benefit, and the other is the second order net benefit. It was explained to us, and this is in the committee's report, that the static benefits means the, quote, initial shock to an economy of trade liberalisation, the immediate competitive shock to an economy. And my question is whether it says the removal of a tariff encourages exporters to improve their competitiveness by allocating their resources more efficiently and increasing their market share. Could we have evidence of the greater efficient allocation of resources in a specific sense? Obviously not in the Malaysian, because we're discussing this, but let us say the China agreement and perhaps the ASEAN agreement, so that we can understand in practical terms. I'm often critiqued, and I enjoy the criticism of being excessively theoretical. What we want is a practical example of the static benefits. The second order benefits, we are told, include innovation and technology. It is the definition I was given in committee was that second order benefits meant the dynamic productive gains over the longer term through investment, competition and adjustments of scale. And the committee's report says the second order benefits include innovation and technology transfer, which lead to increased exports and access to new markets, leading to an improvement in New Zealand's economic performance, including the creation of new jobs. My question is, those second order benefits through innovation and technology presumably also apply to Malaysia as well as New Zealand. And I think this is an example of the inherent bias and slant that we bring to bear on our so-called objective analysis in the NIA when we trumpet the benefits to New Zealand exporters through all this, and we are silent or we mumble when it comes to the effect on importers, or rather the New Zealand imports and the effect on our own domestic manufacturing sector. So my question is initially theoretical, and I assure you it will become practical quickly, and that is that in the event that the second order benefits were equal between Malaysia and New Zealand, let us assume, as Mr. Chair.
I call Kennedy Graham.
Thank you. I'll try to speed up. I'm only halfway through question one. And
There is unlimited.
I'll have to hand my notes over to the Maori Party. Two of them, that is. If the second order benefits were equally distributed, then presumably there is no net economic benefit to New Zealand. Is that correct, or is it wrong? Second question. I note that the so-called disadvantages section in the NIA laments its principal disadvantage is that it didn't go far enough. There was the 0.05% that Mr. Robertson was lamenting, although he was gracious and broad-minded and globally minded enough to issue a caveat of let us be flexible and not 100% absolutist in this. I could be able to phrase it differently. We're told here New Zealand would have preferred an even more ambitious goods market outcome, notably so that it could export, hold it, wait, alcohol, tobacco and firearms. Sir, alcohol, tobacco and firearms. Well, New Zealand wine is very nice, and none of us, probably not too many of us, are teetotalers. However, I advance the suggestion that it is cultural insensitivity of the highest degree to lament in our NIA that another country with another religion and a different culture with whom we have cordial relationships and a degree of mutual understanding, we criticise them by implication for not importing New Zealand, never mind the alcohol, although that's an issue, firearms, tobacco. What are we doing here? It's hubris. And it slides into our NIA in the name of so-called objectivity. These are not objective documents, sir. These are creeds. What manner of cultural insensitivity drives us to insist that they accept these exports from us? Have we no shame in this respect? I'm sorry, I meant that to be a factual question, so I'll look to the Minister to answer it in a very low-key, deadpan, rational way. Question 3. We're talking about the negative adjustment effects, and we actually go as far as to identify a few sensitive sectors: margarine, clothing, footwear, carpet, steel, plasterboard and wooden furniture. And yet when in the committee, when I ask if there is any study done in New Zealand by government or academia about the effects on these sectors in previous agreements, the answer is no. New Zealand has not done any studies. New Zealand, we're told, looks to the study done by the ADB about the effects on Europe and the United States. And my suggestion is, are we 100% convinced that the different scale of those economies applies ipso facto to New Zealand? Or might we just stretch our 4.2 million capacity to undertake a study of our own? And if we haven't, and I'm told we haven't, then we should. That's another question to the Minister. Should we take it on? Question 4. We are constantly told that the Green Party can start Morris dancing again on the grounds that there's an environmental protocol in the agreements and we can be happy and go home. I have a question for the Minister to answer factually, because I have asked, and the answer, as far as I can understand it, is that there are no meetings yet of under any FTA under the environmental protocols. So I stand corrected. I'll be happy to stand corrected. Could I please have details of whenever they have met, where, and a transcript of the meetings under the environmental protocols of any FTAs? And finally, question 5. It derives from the earlier comments, a review on the effects on New Zealand's domestic manufacturers of the FTAs. Has it ever been done? And if not, should we take it on in this country? Never mind ADB, New Zealand government, or a commissioned academic study of the effect on New Zealand's companies. Which companies have suffered economically? Which domestic manufacturers in this country have suffered economically, both in terms of revenue and in terms of employment, jobs lost within their own companies? If we don't